The Christmas trees sparkled in the grand foyer of Ashford Estate, 20 feet of Norwegian spruce with crystal ornaments. 60 guests filled the marble halls, champagne flowing, admiring the Victorian mansion that had stood since 1952. My mother posed on the curved staircase in red silk, looking like she owned the place. He didn't. Can I have everyone's attention? Mom called out, tapping her glass. The chum died. My older sister Sarah positioned herself front and center, her fiancé Brandon beside her, both glowing with anticipation. Tonight I want to announce a very special Christmas gift, Mom said, her voice carrying through the foyer. Sarah and Brandon are getting married in June, and we're giving them the entire east wing of Ashford Estate. Applause erupted. Sarah squealed. I stood near the library entrance, eggnog in hand, watching this unfold with detached curiosity. 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, private kitchen, separate entrance, Mom continued. We've already hired designers. It'll be their own home within the family estate. More applause. Sarah showed off her wing, to friends like she'd been crowned royalty. And we're giving the west wing to Michael when he gets married. Mom gestured to my younger brother, who pumped his fist from across the room. I took a sip of eggnog and checked my phone. Opened the email I'd received 3 days ago from Fletcher and Morrison Estate Attorneys. Subject: Trust Fund Activation, Ashford Estate. The attached documents confirmed what I'd known for 4 years. I owned this entire estate. Had owned it since I turned 25. Under the table I texted my attorney. They just gave away the east wing. Activate everything. Security team standing by. Say when? Midnight. Let them enjoy Christmas Eve first. What my family didn't know. My grandfathers had left Ashford Estate in trust, to be activated when the youngest grandchild turned 25. An independent board would select one grandchild as primary beneficiary based on financial responsibility, education, and maturity. They'd chosen me 4 years ago. Not Sarah, with $90,000 in credit card debt and 2 college dropouts on her record. Not Michael, fired from 3 jobs and currently finding himself in Europe on Mom's dime. Me. The quiet middle child with a finance degree and a stable career who never asked the family for money. For 4 years I'd been the legal owner. Paying property taxes, $67,000 annually. Covering maintenance, insurance, utilities, staff salaries. Total investment, $1.2 million. And they had no idea. I'd wanted to see what would happen if they didn't know. If they'd include me in decisions. If they'd treat me like I mattered. Turns out they divided up my house without asking. Dinner was roasted duck and truffle potatoes. I sat between my Aunt Caroline and Cousin James, listening to Sarah plan her renovation. Marble countertops in the kitchen, Sarah said. And we're ripping out that old fireplace. So dated. That fireplace was original to the house, installed by my grandfather. Worth $45,000. What about the library? Brandon asked. Home gym. The library contained first editions worth over $200,000. Grandpa's collection. Absolutely. Mom said. Grandpa would want you to make it your own. Grandpa would have had a stroke. What about you, Claire? Aunt Caroline asked. Still in that downtown apartment? For now. When you get married, you should take the servants' quarters, Michael suggested. Pretty nice for what they are. The servants' quarters. Grandpa's former office suite where he taught me about investments and property management. I'll keep that in mind, I said evenly. Mom raised her glass. To family, to tradition, to the next generation making this house their home. I raised my glass but didn't drink. Just watched them celebrate giving away rooms in a house I'd been funding for 4 years. At 11, I excused myself to the library and called Fletcher Morrison. They've divided the entire estate. Planning to gut the library and remove the original fireplace. Without the owner's permission. Which they don't have. It's time. You sure? It's Christmas Eve. They're planning to destroy Grandpa's library. I'm sure. Security arrives at midnight. Your mother and siblings will be informed and given options. Stay as tenants at $8,000 monthly or vacate in 60 days. After hanging up, I stood among Grandpa's books. First editions of Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Steinbeck. The desk where he taught me about compound interest. He'd known I was the one who'd understand. That's why he'd left it to me. At 11:45, I returned to find close family in the sitting room, still planning renovations. "There's Claire," Mom called. "We're turning the sunroom into a yoga studio. What do you think?" "I think we need to talk. Now." Something in my tone made everyone look up. "When Grandpa died, he left the estate in trust," I said, "to activate when the youngest grandchild turned 25. An independent board selected one beneficiary based on financial responsibility and maturity." "We know this," Mom said impatiently. "The trust maintains the house. The trust designated one owner. They selected me 4 years ago. I've been the legal owner since I turned 25. The champagne glass fell from Mom's hand, shattering on the floor. "That's not possible," Sarah whispered. I showed them my phone, the trust documents, the deed in my name, property tax records showing 4 years of payments. I've paid $67,000 annually in taxes. I've covered $1.2 million in expenses. This is my house. Michael grabbed my phone, scrolling frantically. "This can't be real. Public record. You can verify with the county clerk." Mom's voice shook. "You've owned this house for 4 years and never told us? I wanted to see if you'd include me. If you'd ask before making decisions. Instead, you gave Sarah the east wing, Michael the west wing, and offered me the servants' quarters. But this is the family estate." Sarah cried. "It was. Now it's my estate. And you just tried to give away my library without asking me." At exactly midnight, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Fletcher Morrison, Patricia Chen from the trustee board, and David Rodriguez, head of estate security. "Good evening, Ms. Ashford," Fletcher said formally. "We're here to facilitate the ownership transition." My family's faces went from shock to horror. Fletcher handed Mom a folder. "These documents confirm Claire's ownership and outline terms for continued residence. $8,000 monthly rent, or 60-day notice to vacate." "Rent." Mom's voice was barely audible. "In our own house?" "It's not your house," Patricia said firmly. "It's Claire's. Has been for 4 years. You've been living here as guests while she invested over $1 million. Sarah grabbed the papers. "This says we have to pay rent?" "It's Claire's house," Patricia repeated. "Grandpa set up the trust this way. The board reviewed credit scores, employment history, education, savings. They chose Claire." "Because you're so perfect?" Sarah spat. "Because I'm financially stable. Because I don't have $90,000 in credit card debt. Because I haven't been fired from 3 jobs. Because I care about preserving what Grandpa built instead of gutting it for a home gym." David stepped forward. "As of midnight, estate security is under Ms. Ashford's authority. All exterior doors have been rekeyed. New codes set. Only Ms. Ashford has access." "You changed the locks?" Mom looked faint. "Standard ownership transition procedure," David said. Sarah turned to me, her face twisted with rage. "I hate you. You're stealing our home." "I own it. Have owned it. You tried to give away rooms in my house without asking." Mom sank into a chair. "What do you want from us?" "I want you to see me as the person who saved this estate and maintained it for 4 years while you took it for granted. You gave away my library. You tried to remove Grandpa's fireplace. You offered me servants' quarters. You took me for granted in every way." Fletcher glanced at his watch. "Ms. Ashford has arranged hotel rooms for anyone who needs time to consider. Paid through the week. You're kicking us out on Christmas?" Michael's voice cracked. "I'm giving you space to think. You can stay tonight in guest rooms and decide tomorrow. But this is my house. We're done pretending otherwise." One by one they left. Sarah stormed out without a word. Michael grabbed his coat. Aunt Caroline slipped away quietly. Mom was last to move. "I raised you. Gave you everything. And this is how you repay me. You gave me everything except recognition. Grandpa gave me that. And he gave me this house. He made a mistake. No. He knew you'd take this place for granted. He knew Sarah and Michael weren't ready. So he left it to the one grandchild who would take care of it." He walked to the door. "Don't expect me at your wedding. Or Christmas next year. I made my choice 4 years ago when I accepted this responsibility. You made yours tonight when you tried to give away my house." She left without another word. After the attorneys left, I walked through the estate alone. Ended up in Grandpa's old office, the servants' quarters. In his desk drawer was an envelope with my name. I'd found it years ago but never opened it. Tonight felt right. Claire, if you're reading this, you've been chosen as the estate's owner. I'm proud of you. The board selected you because you understand. Wealth isn't about having money. It's about responsibility and sacrifice. Your siblings see this house as a prize. You see it as a legacy to protect. They won't understand. They'll call you selfish. They'll say I made a mistake. I didn't. This house needs someone who will care for it properly. Someone who understands being an Ashford means preserving what we've built. Stand firm. Do what's right. Love, Grandpa. I read it 3 times, tears streaming down. He'd known. He'd known exactly what would happen tonight. 3 days later, Mom signed the lease. Cold formality replaced warmth between us. Sarah moved out within 2 weeks, sending me a bill for emotional damages. My attorney politely returned. Michael took the 3rd-floor guest suite, paid his rent, avoided me completely. The estate was quiet now. No more parties. Just me and a house that was finally, officially mine. My cousin James texted, "Grandpa always knew it was yours. Said you were the only one who really listened. I'm proud of you." It wasn't forgiveness from everyone. But it was something. The east wing stayed intact. The library remained untouched. Grandpa's fireplace continued warming, a house finally in the right hands. 2 months after Christmas, I stood in Grandpa's office reviewing renovation bids. The estate needed updates, not Sarah's marble countertops and home gyms, but essential infrastructure. New plumbing in the west wing. Roof repairs. HVAC upgrades in the servants' quarters. My phone rang. Unknown number. Claire Ashford. Speaking. This is Jennifer Walsh from Architectural Digest. We're doing a feature on historic estate preservation and your name came up. Would you be interested in an interview? I hesitated. How did you get my name? Patricia Chun from your grandfather's trust board. She mentioned you're doing remarkable work preserving a 1952 Victorian estate. We'd love to feature the story. I'll think about it. One more thing, we heard there was some family drama around the inheritance. Our readers love those human interest angles. I hung up without answering. But the call made me think. The estate had been a family secret for so long. Maybe it was time to tell the real story. A week later I got a call from Mom. First time she contacted me directly since Christmas. "There are reporters calling," she said without preamble. "Asking about the estate. About Grandpa's will. About you. Architectural Digest wants to do a feature. You can't do that interview. It'll humiliate the family. The family humiliated themselves when they tried to give away my house." Silence. Then, "Sarah's struggling. The wedding is off. She can't afford her rental. She's asking if she can move back. As a tenant? She doesn't have $8,000 a month, Claire. You know that. Then she needs to find something she can afford. There are apartments downtown for $1,200. Those are tiny studios in bad neighborhoods. Those are what people live in when they can't afford mansions. I lived in one for 3 years while saving money. This is your sister. My sister who called me boring her entire life. Who tried to gut Grandpa's library for a home gym. Who hasn't spoken to me in 2 months except to send me a bill for emotional damages." Mom's voice broke. "Please. She's family. Family asks before taking. Family contributes instead of consuming. Family doesn't offer you servants' quarters in your own house." I hung up. The Architectural Digest interview happened in March. They sent a photographer and a journalist named Rebecca Kim who spent 3 hours walking the estate with me. "Your grandfather built this in 1952, Rebecca said, taking photos of the old fireplace. "And your sister wanted to remove it?" She said it looked old. Rebecca shook her head. "It's beautiful. Real craftsmanship. You can't find this anymore." She snapped more pictures. "Why did your grandfather make the truss like that?" I led her to the library. Showed her the old books, maps, and the desk where he taught me about money. "He didn't see this house as a prize," I said. "He saw it as a duty. And your family didn't understand that? They saw rooms to claim. I saw a legacy to protect." Rebecca's article came out in June. The photos were stunning, the grand hall, the library, the old woodwork. But her words made it go viral. While her siblings planned to tear down history, 29-year-old Claire Ashford quietly spent over $1.2 million keeping her grandfather's dream alive. When her family tried to divide the estate, she revealed the truth: she already owned it. People flooded the comments with their own stories about family greed. My brother tried to sell mom's house. My sister stole heirlooms. I got nothing because I was the youngest. The story spread fast. More interviews, podcasts, a book offer, and one angry text from my sister Sarah. "You made us look like monsters. Hope you're happy." I didn't reply. But I wasn't unhappy. In July, my cousin James called. "I'm getting married in September. I want you there." "Sarah will be there." "I know. But you should come anyway. You kept Grandpa's legacy alive. That means something." I went. Stayed quiet. Sat in the back. At the reception, my brother Michael found me. "Nice article," he said calmly. "Thanks. I got a job. Assistant manager now. Paying mom's rent. My share. It's most of my paycheck, but fair." "You're paying rent?" "She can't afford it alone. And I lived there free too long." He paused. "I was awful at Christmas. And before that." "It's okay," I said softly. "The guest suite's open if you want it," I added. "Lease and all." "I'll think about it," he said, walking away. It wasn't much, but it was something. 2 months later, Sarah called. "I'm back with Brandon," she said. "We're in therapy. Looking for a small house." "That's good." Pause. "Your article was hard to read. Seeing what you did while I planned to gut the library. Seeing how much you gave while I was in debt." "I'm sorry it was hard." "No, you shouldn't be. I treated you terribly. You were quiet and steady and I made that seem small." "It wasn't." "What changed?" "Therapy. Losing everything. Facing who I was." She took a breath. "I tried to steal your house. I thought I deserved it. I didn't." "I see. I can't afford much now, but I'm fixing it. Slowly. I just wanted you to know, I get it now." "The books, Grandpa's books," she added. "You're keeping them safe?" "Everyone." "Good." She hung up. It wasn't forgiveness. But maybe it was understanding. A year later, I hosted Thanksgiving. Small group, people who stayed loyal. James and his wife. Michael, now a steady tenant. Aunt Caroline. Mom, who brought a homemade pie. Sarah didn't come, but she sent a card. "Thank you for preserving what Grandpa built. He'd be proud." We ate in the same dining room where everything once fell apart. Now it felt peaceful. James raised his glass. "To Claire for standing up for what's right." "I didn't lose everything," I said. "Just people who only cared when I was useful." "And kept the ones who matter," Aunt Caroline added. Michael smiled. "Working and paying rent feels good. Thanks for not letting me stay lazy." We laughed. The air felt lighter. After dinner, I walked through the quiet house. The library was safe. The fireplace warm. Grandpa's maps still in place. The estate finally felt like home. Then my phone buzzed. An email from the book agent. "6-figure offer for your memoir. Interested?" I looked around the study, his desk, my desk now, and smiled. I typed back, "Very interested. Let's talk." Grandpa built the estate. I saved it. And now I tell the story of how I learned to protect what mattered. Even when my own family didn't see its worth.